Hello and welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another weekly vlog. This week I am vlogging exclusively for Middle-earth Athon, which is a readathon all about Lord of the Rings, lead hosted by my flatmate Lizzie, who is a big Lord of the Rings nerd, in the build-up to the Rings of Power series coming out on Amazon. I am a team leader. I am Witch King, team of the Nazguls, which is why my t-shirt says I am all the bad guys. Actually, that's a D&D reference, but I feel like it was fitting nonetheless. And unlike my other co-hosts, I haven't done a TBR video because with the Witch Kings, I'm allowed to pick 9 books and then I only have to read 3 of them over the week. Everyone else had 3 prompts. We get 9 prompts and then I only have to read 3 to succeed, basically. So I'm going to go through my TBR with you now because it is Friday. The readathon officially started this morning. I was trying to catch up on some other reads, so it didn't start until now. But I also had a really silly morning of like earliness and shit like that. And I'm only just back and ready, and the live stream that really kicks off the readathon starts in half an hour. So I've got plenty of time, but I thought I would just go through my TBR with you here instead of having an official video and then putting this up at the end of it so you can see what a great time I've had doing a Middle-earth Athon time. So the first 3 prompts are technically men prompts because the Witch Kings come from men but were corrupted by the evil power of Sauron. The first prompt is a large cast or multiple POV. I will be reading Jade City. Now this is also something that I'm meant to be reading for Wayward-athon if I haven't finished it in time, so I can like give myself a couple of weeks break and then come back to it. And it is also a book that I've chosen for Bookopoly. So 3 times TBR'd for 1 month. Doesn't mean that if I don't read it I can't put it back on my TBR again later, but it just goes to show how excited for this one I am. Lizzie was not impressed by it at all, but I'm really excited for this one. I'm expecting kind of a Chloe Gong, Gangs of China type. Maybe Japan? One of those. Oh no, it's Hong Kong. Gangs of Hong Kong vibe, but with magic, and I'm quite excited for that one. Another prompt was a black cover, and Lizzie and I will be buddy reading Book of Night. Now this was the book club pick for Beth from Books Nest Book Club, and I didn't get to it in time. And it was an Illumicrate edition and a Waterstones edition, and I didn't get the Illumicrate one, but I got the Waterstones one, and still didn't read it. So now's the time, and I'm really worried that Holly Black was kind of a flash in the pan moment for me. I really enjoyed The Cruel Prince, but I haven't enjoyed anything else by Holly Black that I've read, and I'm 17 pages into this, and this is me coming back at it a second time because I couldn't really get into it, but I'm hoping buddy reading it with Lizzie for this prompt will help me. Fingers crossed. If not, it doesn't matter, I can move on to something else. Another prompt was reread a 5-star, so I will be rereading The Bees. This is a dystopian novel and an award winner, which is all about a young bee called Flora, who is kind of like the lowest rung in the hierarchy of bees, but she then suffers a mutation and starts to adapt to different roles, which is not something bees can do, and then she breaks the law and does something only the queen can do, which is reproduce. And it's all about her protecting her young and protecting her hive and learning about how this society of bees works. So it is basically The Handmaid's Tale but with bees, and it made Lizzie cry and it made me cry when I read it the first time, and I have every suspicion that it will make me cry when I read it a second time, so why not make myself cry with another 5-star read? Another prompt for the Witch Kings is a book with a powerful patron. So one of the prompts was to basically read a book from one of the top publishers of the UK, top 5, and I'll be reading Pages & Co, Tilly and the Book Wanderers. I've got the trilogy of this, and I know the 4th one's come out as paperback very, very recently, so I feel like I really should get to this at some point. Like, it's been a while. I see a lot of booktubers talking about this as like a really great middle grade, and I really feel like I need to give it the time, so now is that time. Hopefully I can get to this one. This is one of the ones that I put on that, because it's a middle grade, I'm hoping I will read it quicker than other books on this TBR. That's not always the case. Sometimes middle grades take me longer because I read them just before I go to bed, because that's the vibe that I like for a middle grade, and then I don't actually read. I scroll through TikTok instead and don't go to bed until I'm like until I'm so past being tired that I can't concentrate. That also happens, but hopefully not with this one. Then another book was a book with the undead. I will be reading Dread Nation, which is about a school of young women of colour learning to kill zombies. Sounds sick. This one I'm not excited about. For antagonist POV, I will be reading Illuminate. Not only is this book a chonk, It's by Jay Kristoff, and I have said before that I don't want to be making content about Jay Kristoff. I read Nevernight and really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the trilogy. I thought the first book was the best of the three, but have since seen the problematic shit that Jay Kristoff does, specifically on Twitter, but also in his books. I don't like the way he speaks to other people in the industry, and for whatever reason, like, I don't like the persona, even if that's all it is, that he puts out on the internet, and I don't really want to be endorsing him as a reader. Therefore, I refuse to buy his books. Lizzie pointed out that she already had this, and she was trying to make me read this for ages. And seeing as this is her readathon, and I didn't have to pay for it, and it will shut her up, I'm reading Illuminate for Antagonist POV. But any even hint that it's racist or problematic, or that I'm just not enjoying it, and I will DNF it and stop it for something else. I have no qualms about doing that whatsoever. Then we have Feminist Empowerment, which was the I Am No Man prompt, and I'll be reading Inferior by Angela Saini. This is a non-fiction book by a woman of colour about data around women and how women have been deemed inferior by men, by the patriarchy, and how that has been systematic and basically institutionalized. I'm really intrigued by this. I really enjoyed Superior, which was about race science by the same author. So the idea that she's got a feminist book, which actually came out before Superior did, I'm really intrigued by. Then we had a book with a weapon on the cover, and I've picked Year of the Reaper. If I'm honest, there are books on this pile that I'm sure I will get to before I get to this one, just because I think they'll be quicker or easier or whatever. But this is one of the ones that I'm most anticipating enjoying. I like a high fantasy, and it was one of the Fairy Loot books, so Lizzie read it and absolutely loved it. So I'm really excited for this one. I'm sure I will enjoy it. And even if I just start it and I don't finish it for this readathon, at least I'll be confirmed that I did like it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm going to give it a go. And then the final one, I can't remember what the prompt was. I think it was a book that you TBR'd before. I'll be reading Extasia, which I have TBR'd twice before. This is technically my third TBRing of it. So if I don't read this one for Middle-earthathon, I have to unhaul it, because it means that I would be TBRing it again. Even if I just start it, that's fine. But if I don't read it, if I don't get to it, then I'm in trouble. Okay, so that's my TBR as it stands. For the reading sprints later, I'm going to start with Illuminate, unless Lizzie is going to read Book of Night, in which case we'll buddy read that through the sprints. But I'm going to start with Illuminate and see how we get on, because that way I feel like if I can just tick it off as either finished or not enjoying, or whatever, like if I am able to DNF it, if I do DNF it, then at least I can get that done today. But I'm gonna go get myself all set up, do some cheeky sprints, and then I'll catch you up when I've actually read something. So just to quickly catch you up on the books that I did start yesterday, I got... See, I knew, I was like, I'm gonna let Lizzie know that I'm recording. But also I'm well aware of the demon that I'm releasing by doing that. And it's going to do the same thing it did last time, where because you're behind the phone, when I come to edit it later, it's going to be behind me and I'm going to be like... So I got 100 pages into Illuminate. I can absolutely see why BookTube enjoys this book so much, but I couldn't care less. I don't care about the characters. I don't care about the plague. I don't really care about any of the stuff. I find the way it's structured very interesting, but I don't see this getting higher than 3 stars thus far. And I also started Extasia, which at the moment is very religious. Like, it's very like, oh, we're praying to gods, and like, I'm going to be a saint, and this, that, and the other, which is very intense. But I have no issue. I think I'm going to probably finish these over the weekend. I'll be really surprised if I don't. And then I'll be 2 out of 3 done of my 9 books after a weekend, which I think will be great. But I have also just received some book mail. I say book mail, I ordered these myself. Like, I don't know why I said that, like someone else sent them to me. They didn't.
It's a gift to myself.
It is a gift to myself. You know how I'm like on this like book buying... It's not a ban. It's not a ban.
Just put it down, it'll never work.
Right? But I'm only allowed to like put new books onto my TBR once I've read like older ones. Well, this is one of the books that I bought for myself. This is Lily B on the Brink of Cool. Now, I'm trying to do this thing where I read the books I loved as a kid, and this is about a young girl who just really wants to be cool. It's not even about being popular. She wants to be trendy, and she wants to have like a good time, and she starts hanging out with this girl who is very cool and has very interesting taste, and she really likes this girl, except the girl then moves into her summer home, like her family's second home basically, with her parents, and they just take her for a fucking ride, and they are con artists basically. is the plot twist. And I absolutely loved it as a kid, and I'm trying a few of like my favourites from my childhood again, and I have not been able to find this anywhere, and I finally found a copy on Abe Books, so I got myself that one, which I'm really excited about. I'll be really disappointed if it doesn't hold up, because there have been some of the kids' books that I've reread that I'm just like, oh, that was like, I really enjoyed that as a kid, but as an adult, I just don't care about it. And it's nothing even necessarily to do with like the story concept, but just like the writing I don't enjoy as much. And then I got this. I've just realised it's come without a dust jacket, which is really interesting. And they've put a sticker on the naked hardback.
Oh, evil.
Yeah, so I might need to get a dust jacket printed for this, which isn't a problem because I can just get my own designs. Because that's the kind of arsehole that I am. Oh, and it's sticky. Yeah, I'll need to get my own dust jacket printed. So I got the hardback of Gods and Jane's Shadow because I have every other... What?
Where the fuck is the dust jacket?
Right? Where's...
That's bizarre. Although that's a cool naked hardback though.
It's not bad, don't get me wrong, but you think about all the others and like the way the type... I need a dust jacket, so...
You can get it to match the text and everything. Oh my god.
Yeah, because Velvet Was the Night doesn't match the other... Sylvia Moreno Garcia. So this is Sylvia Moreno Garcia. She has become an auto by author for me, and whilst I do have the paperback for Gods of Jade and Shadow, I have every other book of hers as a hardback, and I said to Lizzie the other day I really wanted to get this as a hardback as well, even though I haven't read it, because I just want all of her books as a hardback, and Lizzie was like, well, have a look and see if it's on Abe Books, so that's why I bought this, and then I bought that as well when I spotted it. So yes, technically both second-hand books, so they would technically count as TBR bets. Lizzie, that was too delayed. No, too slow, too slow.
Sorry, I was doing something else.
So that's, yeah. I'm gonna get a dust jacket designed, I think. I mean, it's a little bit frosty on the edges. It's a little bit crinkled, but a decent dust jacket will solve that problem, and then I will have all of them, because some of her older stuff that's out of print at the moment is coming back into print.
Yes.
And they're getting new covers and stuff, because Joe Fletcher, which is the imprint of Quercus, are reprinting them. So I'm very excited about that. And like, I don't like that this bit's sticky, but it was like £4. So
we love Abe Books though for our print books.
Yeah. So yeah, love that for me. Cheeky bit of book mail. We've got another stream in a couple of hours, and in the meantime, I've got other bits I need to do. I need to finish editing my video so that can go up today. My TBR for Bookopoly is going up today. Or it would have gone up yesterday if I had edited it yesterday. But I didn't, because I'm a chaos demon. So I'm doing that. Just generally chilling out, reading. We haven't got any other plans, have we? I'm hungry. Let's have lunch.
I was gonna make lunch.
Let's have lunch. We're going to go have lunch. I'll see you in a bit. Morning, it's Monday, and I'm officially halfway through with Ecstasia, and I'm still a third of the way through with Illuminae. I haven't picked this up just because the last few pages that I read were very focused on the plague, and it feels very, very soon during COVID that just feels a bit wrong at the moment. But I will come back to this because it is quite an easy read. But I thought I would catch you up about Ecstasia. And basically, Ecstasia is about this young girl who lives in this very pious, very kind of Salem-esque village. and she is basically being anointed. She's becoming a saint, and what happens to saints is the town gather once a month and take out all of their sins on the saints. And there's a group of young girls who aren't old enough to have their periods yet, so they are all younger than 16, and this town just kicks the shit out of them. And it's very visceral, it's very brutal, and the writing style in general is really interesting to me because it's very, very similar to the book The Shadow in the Glass, which I read for one of the Luna Book Club picks, and I hated that book. The chapters were really long, the writing style was really jarring. The chapters of this are very, very short, and it works with the writing style because it really shows you how caught up in her own mind this character is. And what this book does, which Shadow of the Glass tried to do and failed, is show the slow decline of someone who has a really strong belief in what they think is good, using what is actually malicious to then get their own ends. And she wants to protect her village. Like, deep in her heart, she wants to be seen as good. She wants to feel like she's good. She wants to be a good person without necessarily having to actually do the work of being a good person, which, I mean, if you've ever met someone who tries to do that, does not make them a good person, and they're not always the nicest people to be around. So she is not a good person, and she is not using good means to get to her ends. However, the more time she spends with other women who also have similar abilities to her and have the ability to tap into ecstasia, which I'm not going to spoil for you, but there is a reason it's called this, the more she's able to tap into those people and what they know, the more she starts using these malicious things, the more she starts getting her own way. It feels like a villain origin story. And whilst at the moment, about halfway through, it's riding on a 3.5 to 4 stars, as opposed to a flat 4 stars. If this turns into a villain origin story fully, and like fully commits to being a villain origin story, it will be a 5, because it is such a slow burn, slow decline, that it will be really interesting to see her have her kind of Phoenix from the X-Men moment where she just burns everything down. So I am enjoying it, but I'm not enjoying it as much as I thought I would. And sometimes when I highly anticipate something, I end up ruining it for myself because I'm just so excited for it that I just ruin it, and I don't get what I expected to get out of it. But I do expect to finish this one today. I would love to finish this one as well. It is a bank holiday today, so no one is necessarily expecting any work from me, and therefore there shouldn't be anything standing in my way. However, I work for myself. And I basically took Friday off. I usually take Fridays off anyway, but I did have a couple of deadlines that I didn't quite meet the week before, so I feel like I should probably get on with that. We are still streaming. I am still doing live streams over on my channel at the moment, and I will be doing them again later in the week. So that has definitely helped with my reading this morning. And if I hit my pages for both of these, I might call it a day and actually get some work done. And then when Lizzie hosts sprints later on this afternoon, I will do some more reading. But that gives me 3.5 to 4 hours where I can actually get some fucking work done, which I probably will do, because this, as seen in my last catch-up bit, or the first catch-up bit possibly, these are all books that I have to send out over the next couple of weeks, and there have been lots of postal strikes, obviously, because enough is enough. And it has meant that because I use Royal Mail rather than any kind of private company for postage, there have been delays in when I can get stuff picked up, so therefore I haven't packaged stuff, because they're better off where I know they are, as opposed to packaging them and then forgetting what's in the box. So I will be doing that today and scheduling some more stuff to get picked up. The sub boxes will be going out this week anyway, so that all needs to go out. So I have a long to-do list. But my done list isn't looking too bad either. I've scheduled stuff for Instagram. I've updated most of the socials for Waypoint and Silvertongue Creative. I've just got some writing to do, reading to do, and packing to do. And I'm not really expecting to get all 3 of those things done today. That's just not realistic. And that is what I'm trying to teach myself, is to set more realistic day goals. But we're getting there. We're getting there. But anyway, yesterday I popped to Oxford with Lizzie, and we met up with Ro and had a really nice coffee and chat. I did most of the talking. I often do. But it was really nice to see Ro properly and like hang out, because I've only ever met Ro at Yauk before, and that was really nice. She was going to the RF Kwong event for Babel, which I was very jealous about because I did not get a ticket to go in. And because Waterstones are struggling with their warehouse, although the book isn't being isn't available to be released until September the 1st. I thought they might have a few extra copies and they just don't. So I'm glad I've got my Illumicrate copy, but I really want to get another copy so that I can annotate it during Gothtober. That's kind of my plan. But that's just adding more stuff to my to-do list. I'm going to go crack on my to-do list and then I will catch you up when I've finished something, because I think I will finish at least one of these books today. Fingers crossed for me. Okay, so I was really hoping that I had made this comment on my vlog and not on a live stream, but unfortunately I made it on a live stream. So when I was reading this earlier and I was chatting to the girls on the live stream about it, I said that this really reminded me of Salem, the TV series, mixed with a little bit of The Village by M. Night Shyamalan. And there was like a real kind of vibe where there was definitely something going on that we didn't know what it was, and just the way that in The Village it turns out that actually there is a society outside of this place that has nothing to do with them. That is exactly what's happened. And I've just got to a point where any opportunity for this to hit higher than a 4 stars has just disappeared. I am so gutted. So basically, they've gone under the mountain. The mountain has been this like really ominous presence for the whole 400 pages that I've read thus far. And they've like avoided it, like actively avoided it, for a myriad of reasons, but essentially because they think the devil lives under the mountain. So she's been avoiding it. She thinks that's where her magic is coming from. And now that they are under there is a secret society with, and like I've literally, like I've paused just before I can get too into it. One, so I don't spoil it, and two, I mean that literally was a spoiler, but one, so I don't like go into it too much, and two, because I'm just so annoyed. Like my gut reaction was to stop and start ranting about this. Basically, they've got a secret society, they have science, they have medicine, there is a woman governor, they have all these other things that like a modern society would have, and clearly this society that she's in is quite secluded, quite rural, hasn't quite made it to modernity, has kind of like the way like an Amish society might, where they like actively avoid those like modern things. And I'm not gonna lie, it's pissed me right off, because if this had been a retelling, just a straight up Crucible retelling, or if it had been like a historical fantasy or just a straight high fantasy, any of those things would have been fine. The idea that the plot twist is this is happening now, basically, and they have the science, but they're choosing not to use it because the risk of women, you know, having power, and that these women have been brutalized in like really barbaric ways, and it's still happening. Like, it was just the fact that there's all this stuff going on, that there are these people not 3 miles away who could have saved all these women who were basically tortured for being witches, when some of them weren't even witches. Like, they get their power from the earth. It's very kind of Vampire Diaries in the way that like they're all connected to the earth, and once they die they then fuel the earth, and that's when what fuels more power and more magic, etc. But I feel like what Claire Legrand has done is she watched the film The Village and went, that shit came out of nowhere, I could do that better. And then she's written it, so that shit still comes out of nowhere. Like, it's not bedded in. At no point is it implied. They never find anything that could be related to modernity. The main character is so caught up in her own drama and her own shit, she doesn't even notice that there's this whole thing living under a mountain. And I swear to God, if these people turn around and say it's because actually they were doing some kind of like social experiment and they've been watching this whole time, I'm going to scream, because they've got all this tech. Why are they hiding? Why are they under there? Why aren't they helping? Like, there's all of this has just made me really angry, because it's left me with more questions, and I know the answers are going to be fucking dumb. Like, I just know they are. There's not going to be a single answer that satisfies how I feel about this book, and I'm devastated, because this was like, I never filmed it, but this was one of my most anticipated releases for 2022. I can't tell you how excited I was when this arrived, and I was fully prepared to save it for Gothtober, and then I kept TBRing it because I really wanted to get to it, to the point that if I hadn't read it for this readathon, I would have had to unhaul it, because I can only TBR something 3 times before I have to get rid of it, because I don't know if you've noticed, I've got a fuck ton of books. I don't have the time. I'm so annoyed. Because I could have just unhauled it and then I wouldn't have known. And then I wouldn't have known how bad this book was. And like, I'm so disappointed. I'm so disappointed because I fucking loved Soul Kill Girls, and I've got the full hardback trilogy of Furyborn because I've heard that if you love Soul Kill Girls, like if you like Claire Legrand's writing, you will love that series. This, I mean, it's been boring. It's been really boring. Outside of the religious trauma, outside of the torture, outside of the black magic, the main character is obnoxious. Like, I just don't like her. And she doesn't really do anything. She just kind of happens to be at the right place at the right time, and it's only that the characters around her are worse than she is that makes her even remotely redeemable, and I just don't care about her. And I'm so disappointed. I'm so disappointed. So I've got less than an hour of an audiobook left. I've got less than 100 pages left, and I'm going to finish it for those reasons, just so I can count it for this readathon. But this was shit. Like, I'm so angry with this ending. I'm more angry about this ending than I was about Crescent City. I know lots of people were really disappointed with Crescent City. I know a lot of people were really disappointed that there were things added to it that didn't need to be there, that it took a long time to get there and then didn't really pay off anything, and then paid off stuff that we didn't really care about. I get that. I get all of that. I get all that frustration. I feel worse about this one. I'm absolutely devastated. And as you can tell, livid. At the moment, Lizzie is upstairs fighting with the printer because I've got loads of printing that I need to get done. Because I've done nearly all of my packaging now. And all of that is going to go tomorrow. And it's going to be such a relief for all of that to go. I didn't get much work outside of that done. But I didn't get nothing done either. So I'm going to finish this. I'm going to throw probably more of a tantrum, to be honest. I'm probably going to go upstairs, wind up Lizzie, and really tell her how shit this book is. I'm so annoyed. And then tomorrow morning, I've got a meeting first thing, so I'm not sprinting tomorrow, but I've got a meeting first thing. And then, depending on how quickly the postal guys come and collect all the stuff, I think Lizzie and I are going to Worcester either tomorrow or Wednesday. I think that's the plan. So I'm so annoyed. I'm so annoyed. And what's even more annoying is I know that once I'm done with this one, the next two books that I've got to finish are Illuminae, which is a science fiction I don't care about, and Book of Night, which is Holly Black and a buddy read with Lizzie that I also don't care about. Not because it's with Lizzie, but because it's like, the book is just not good. It's just not good. And I've started it really enjoying it for the Lost Girl vibes. There's a TV series on Sci-Fi called Lost Girl, which is about a succubus who basically uses her powers to drain the life out of people. And it's really, really cool. But it's not quite as entertaining as Lost Girl was. So I've got those two to look forward to, which is really annoying. To the point that I'm nervous about the rest of my TBR now. I'm really nervous about the rest of my TBR. I only have to finish 3 books. I only have to tick off 3 prompts. I'm not enjoying the 3 that I've started. I'm really not enjoying them. What a grumpy old man I am. I'm gonna go because I'm hoping that by the time I see you next, I'll be in a better mood. Fingers crossed. Good morning, it's Wednesday. I managed to finish Ixtasia, but I'm not talking about it any more than I did yesterday because you don't need to hear it. But I also got 200 pages, there or thereabouts, in 2 Pages & Co. Tilly and the Book Wanderers. I'm really enjoying this. I should have started this first. It is just joyful and charming, and it is perfect for book nerds, and it is the kind of middle grade writing that I enjoy. Like, it is for a younger middle grade, but I'm enjoying it a lot more than I enjoyed Nevermore. I know the general consensus is that people preferred Nevermore to that 2 Pages & Co, but I think Pages & Co is the version for me, and I'm pleased because I've bought the next 2 books already. I bought all 3 of them all in one go, so I'm glad that I am enjoying that more than Nevermore because I don't know Nevermore. I did that as an audiobook. The plan today is to leave the house. We're leaving the house, that's what's happening. Lizzie and I are going to pop to a Tolkien-themed museum/gallery thing. It's about an hour's drive away, so I will be driving. I don't trust Lizzie to drive. That's not true. That's not true and not fair. I do trust Lizzie to drive. I just think I've got more fuel in my car, so we'll go in my car this time. And we're going to be listening to Midnight Sun because I need to get that book finished. And if I can use it as a prompt for Witch Kings, I absolutely will, just so I can get it ticked off. I don't want to be reading it anymore. It's not good, but I will insert here some B-roll of my day and then catch up as and when I've read something else. that scare the life out of you?
I didn't know it moved.
Chilling on your hobbit chair. You won't break it. Okay, it's last thing on Friday. It's literally midnight, and I realised that I hadn't caught you up yesterday because I didn't really read anything yesterday. So I'm going to catch you up now. I managed to finish my last 2 books. Let's talk about Illuminae. Illuminae I hit about the 300-page mark. Not yesterday, the day before yesterday. And there was a moment where it kind of changed for me, my perspective of this. Now, I have given it 4 stars. And I'm very conflicted because I don't want to recommend it because there's a whole bunch of stuff that, like, I feel like J. Kristoff's behaviour has not been called out enough, and, like, I don't really want to support him as an author. Did I really enjoy Illuminae? Yes, there was some very antagonistic themes to it, and obviously antagonist was the prompt that I was reading it for. And as a sci-fi goes, I was interested. It was very zombies in space. There were elements of it that I actually really liked. I liked the pacing of it. And there were a couple of times when I was like, oh, you're making me feel things? Interesting. Do I feel like I can recommend it? No, not really. So like I said, I'm conflicted about that one. So we're going to leave that there. Gave it 4 stars and I gave it a go, which is all I was asked to do. And then I finished Pages & Co. This is also getting a 4 stars. I really, really enjoyed this. This is a really fun, whimsical middle grade, and it is kind of perfect for kids and adults who enjoy reading books and enjoy all the little references, because they start off very, very subtle and they kind of get more ham-fisted as they kind of go, which makes sense because Tilly is exploring this book Wandering Universe. I liked the plot twist of who her father was. I enjoyed the plot twist with regards to who the antagonist is, things like that. I thought that was all really, really clever. And yeah, it was just generally a good time. These were very, very different. They made me feel very, very different things, but I generally enjoyed them. And considering how awful Extasia was as a reading experience, I'm kind of glad I started with that one and then came back to these, because these were much, much better. And Pages & Co. will definitely be on Waypoint, although Illuminae will not be. This has not been a particularly long vlog. I know it won't be a long vlog even before I know this won't be a long vlog even before I edit it, because I haven't caught up with you as often as I'd have liked this week, but I've been doing lots of stuff, and we're obviously hosting the readathon, so I've been doing that. The next vlog that I do will probably be my reading my mum's recommendations one. That one is going to be wild because they are very, very weird books. Let me know in the comments below, did you take part in the Middle-earth Athon readathon, and if so, which team were you on? What did you read? What was your favourite read of the week? I'm going to go to bed now. We've got like 15 minutes left of this sprint. I think we're literally just going to wrap up and say goodnight, and that is exactly what I'm going to do now. I'm going to wrap up and say goodnight. I hope you've enjoyed this vlog, and I'll see you next time.